Welcome to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss the unidentified, the unexplainable, paranormal, conspiracies, and much more. Starring your host and co-host, Jenny Nicasio, Sean Kelly, and Jason Sledgehammer I. Petro. Brought to you by IPRN Network. Now for your host, Jenny Nicasio.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on FM 105.3 New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. Remember to like us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, make sure you like and subscribe to our website. Okay, the term paranormal, okay, it applies to anything currently beyond the range of scientific explanation. So, anyone who claims they have access to a rule book on the paranormal, just throw it away, because there's no foolproof way of making a ghost go boo, okay? And if there was, it was probably a fraud or a scam. So including a lot of reputable scientist theories, there's a lot of unexplained phenomena out there. And there's a lot of paranormal investigators who are trying to utilize the scientific method. But so far, paranormal facts don't quite exist. They never did, and then probably never will. So some myths we're going to talk about tonight, there's a lot of them. Okay, so we're going to try to, discuss them, what all the different, three paranormal groups on the stage tonight in a panel tonight. We're going to have a round table, so we're going to discuss it. So Jason, how you doing? Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Happy Torture Tuesday.
It's going to be a torture today, buddy.
Well, we're going to try to have a good night. So, although, it's one of those days where anything can go.
Well, it's going to go.
Yeah.
Always.
So tonight we're going to talk about, some things with these paranormal groups. Like, you guys are investigators. I'm an investigator, UFO investigator, a little bit of a paranormal, trying to be anyways, investigator. So in our round table tonight, we're going to discuss, I don't know about you, but I think these are really good ideas, what we're going to discuss. Some of the myths we're going to try to debunk. Well, not debunk. We're just going to try to see what ghosts only come out at night. Do they? Okay.
Nope.
So, hold off. Is there any physical evidence of Bigfoot? Okay. Okay. Don't say it. We're just going to, I'm just giving the audience that if they want to put some comments or questions in the comments in the section. Some of the only old buildings are haunted. That's one. America's paranormal fascination is new. I don't know. Aliens are little green men in flying saucers. That's one. And no one still believes in vampires. I do, of course, but you never know. Modern zombies are supernatural. These are some of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to go down the list. And then one of the biggest ones that I want to talk about, and so our investigators can think about that, haunted house reports. Haunted house reports are on the rise during the pandemic. So that's what they say. So we're going to find out. So before we start off, I just want to make sure. We're going to introduce Sean. I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. You're going to introduce. You can pick the first one. I'm going to bring him on. The first investigator, paranormal group. You want to introduce?
Yes. Lone Wolf Paranormal.
Okay. And what is his name?
Mike McKinney, I do believe.
Can you give us a little thing about him?
Well, a little bit about Mike. He was a co-founder of the Lone Wolf Paranormal, and the team was named in honor of James William Mock, who was in Special Forces who fought in the Vietnam War. What I like about this group is that whenever they help Wounded Warrior Project, and so they have open investigations, and part of the proceeds that they make from that goes to the charity, Wounded Warriors. He is the co-founder, and they're passionate.
Okay. Does he go by another name than Mike? Because I don't see him in our round table.
I don't know. I know all I got is the bio from Mike McKinney. That's all I got.
Okay. I'm thinking Lone Wolf. Okay. Okay, are
It
you
is actually Ty. I'm the lead investigator.
Ty? Okay.
Okay.
Mike
I took
couldn't
a
be here
guess. I
today, and
took
so
a
they
guess.
sent me. He would love to have joined, but I'm the best you can get tonight.
Okay.
All right, Ty. Thank
Okay,
God.
Ty,
All right.
thanks. I'm glad I remembered you said you were from. Okay, so go ahead and give us a little bit of rundown about your paranormal group.
So we were founded in, I want to say, 2015. I'm a little bit newer to the group than the two founders. So far, we've been on one investigation with me alongside them, and I've done my own in several different places. We went to the Tifton Theater recently and documented a few things there. And I got to say, from my own perspective, it was pretty active, had some neat interactions. I've been with this team since 2021, whenever I moved over here. And I've only been experiencing and thinking about the paranormal since I worked at a prison.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
That's cool. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the Iron City. So we have Derek Smith. He's going to bring Derek Smith in, and we also have Dan. I believe Dan's with your group too, Derek?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we have Derek and Dan. They're a dedicated traveler exploration of some haunted places around town. They're based out of Iron City, Pittsburgh. So we got a head shout out for Pittsburgh. So we're all
Yes.
Pittsburgh people. So they're investigated a lot of haunted locations. So they began their journey back in 2017. Oh wow, it goes back. So is it Derek? Are you the one who had an extended background in childhood experiences, or was that let's see, what's this? I got Dan. Okay, Dan. I forgot to pull Dan in there. Okay, you in there,
There's
Dan?
Dan the man.
Okay, so which one of you started the group? Both of you together?
Dan, you're on silent. You got to
Dan-
click your
Dan,
mic
you're
off
muted.
mute.
Oops, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah, so
We got a
we
winner.
both started the group together. I was the individual that had the experiences as a kid. Derek, I've known Derek forever, and we kind of went with it from there. But yeah, we started the group back in 2017. Actually, didn't expect to get it into what it is today. We started as actually for Derek's bachelor party in 2017. We kind of just we had a haunted location in a very popular haunted location in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh, Hillview Manor. We went there for his bachelor party. It was an excuse to drink beer and hunt ghosts. And we had a very, very interesting time. There was probably 6 to 8 of us at the time. Most of the people, the other 6 people, did not continue on the journey with us. Derek and I loved it. The other ones were a mix. Some of them loved it. Some of them were, to be quite honest with you, scared, crapless all night.
Yeah.
Hiding in a corner pretty much all night.
Yeah. So, I mean, that makes a fun night too. But yeah, no, so we just stuck with it, and it's kind of gotten out of control now. So we have,
That's great.
have a little group.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Sean. You want to introduce the rest?
Did they come on? Brian Rowley from Mississippi Paranormal Society. There he is. Hey, Brian.
Hey,
You want
Brian.
to tell us a little bit of your group, please?
Started my group back in 1995 after I had a few weird experiences my teenage years, and mostly started researching, then got into investigating. We like to do them all. We do private residences, we do businesses, historic places, which Mississippi is full of them. A lot of people don't realize that. We like to help people, on my team. It's been a passion of mine since the early 90s and mid 90s. And it's something I just don't see not doing. It's just a part of who I am. I
That's
wake
cool.
up thinking about it.
It says here that you're a student of parapsychology. Can you explain a little bit?
I've studied parapsychology since I started researching it. I don't have a degree or anything. I've just studied it. I've studied anything and everything about it. I got turned on to it by reading Hans Holzer. He was the first
Pastor
person I read about in the paranormal and parapsychology. So I've got all his books and everything. I also have a background in psychology and history. So
Okay.
Cool.
That's
Jason,
pretty
go ahead.
interesting.
Start off the round table for anything you want to start out with.
Well, hey, why don't we just jump down to it? We're all paranormal investigators. Thank you everybody for coming on tonight. Why don't we talk a little bit about like some gear that everybody uses? It's I have a lot of gear. Sean's got gear, and we find that everybody likes different particular items and stuff. Want to see what piece of equipment works best for like each of you guys. What you get your most evidence with. Curious to hear what other investigators are using.
I primarily. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ty.
All right.
Ty,
I've
take the
primarily
floor.
been using dowsing rods. Most of my experience has been within confined walls. Wasn't allowed to bring anything in to record. But since I have been able to document things, I've been using dowsing rods and a camera, and I've gotten some pretty decent results so far of those.
Nice. When you're using the dowsing rods in these buildings, do you think that there's like any like nearby water sources that might be drawing them, or do you think it's like strictly like EMF from spirits? Because I know they can pull towards like water source.
Yeah, I thought about that because the way I try to look at everything is if I can find an answer to it that isn't paranormal, I'm going to go with that. Because I'd rather go ahead and present to somebody concrete proof against than a hypothetical for. Because there's going to be a million people coming to me with saying that it can't be. And if I can give them concrete saying, hey, I tried everything I could, and I couldn't find anything concrete saying it wasn't. With the dowsing rod so far, I wanted to try to say it could have been something like that. But with as sharp and clear as the answers were, with I'd ask a question or someone would ask a question, and it was an immediate turn left, right, open or close for yes and no, and stopping on a dime, I couldn't rule that out. I had to rule out water.
All right. Very nice. How about you other guys? What do you think about dowsing rods? Anybody have used them or any kind of input on them?
I personally cannot use dowsing rods. I wish I could. I influence them too much. They're too easily manipulated without you really paying attention to what your hands are doing. Ty, I have seen them work for other people. Like when we've done some public investigations where we were leading and, individuals that had very steady hands and were able to hold them steady, or at least what they're saying they do. Because like I say, it does not take much of a pitch change in your hand to get those to move. Like I said, I move them subconsciously, but we've been the same way, Ty. I mean, we've had very, very good feedback from them in outdoor locations, primarily for us. It's really hard to argue the results on those things sometimes, as long as the person holding them is trustworthy and is somebody that wouldn't fake those kind of things. I think the results speak for themselves.
I have to agree.
yeah, I agree too.
Derek?
As far as the dowsing rods go, I can't use them.
Yeah.
We both suck at them.
Yeah.
I have a set, and I tried playing with them so far, and it's like I'm just trying to get my hands to hold them real steady.
We have two.
That's
we
my
have two
downfall.
sets, and it's like, why?
Because
How
it's like
about you,
I'll be
Brian?
holding them, and I'll like look to the left, and all of a sudden they start going left. It's like,
Yeah, I tried to get around that because I was really scared that I was influencing them without like any thought to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here with my eyes closed and hold my arms as steady as possible. And from what everybody was saying, they were still opening and answering questions. And I was like, that's the most I can verify.
Sure.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely got to practice with mine.
Hey, how about you, Brian?
I used to use them way back. I always liked them. They are hard. I do agree with what's his name, Dan, with what he was saying. Some people can easily manipulate them, not knowing it. I've always had mixed results. You know, kind of sometimes that's lines up with the answer I should get at a location, and sometimes it's way off. You know, and it kind of makes you wonder, well, was I subconsciously moving them? Did my hand twitch or something? So I don't know, I'm more of an audio person, to be honest. I like audio.
And
Cool.
for me about the dowsing rods, I'm like, I'm with Dan on that, because yes, they can be easily manipulated. But the only thing that I would consider is if someone had a K2 meter next to the dowsing rods as the dowsing rods are being crossed. So just using the dowsing rod for answers, I can't accept that. But if I had another piece of equipment, a K2 of some sort, then yes. If that goes off whenever the rods are crossing, then we know it's legit.
Well, we'll try it out the next
cool.
investigation.
Yeah, we will.
I'll try and hold these down.
I definitely will have to use one of those as well.
So now I see there's like a lot of like new cameras out and everything that's going out there, you know, infrareds and full spectrums. And, you know, I've spent hours and hours of researching before I decide on the cameras setup that I, you know, chose for investigations. Just kind of curious, like what's everybody using for like using full spectrum, night vision, you know, like specific brands, you know, POV cams, like what's everybody's like go-to for like investigations?
Derek?
I mean, for ours, it's typically just night vision. We'll set up a few static cams, hardwired. Sometimes we'll just kind of have them stationary in every room. I'll tell you one thing that we have been really liking, though, are the thermal cameras. Just the simple plug-in, the FLIR. We get so much with that, and they're also very easy to debunk something. Just because it's live, you know. Right. Anytime you see a picture or video, you can then go and you can try to see what's there, see if we caused it, see if some element caused it, you know, some kind of weather caused it, anything like that, and you can kind of recreate it right there on the spot. You don't have to wait until you're reviewing later. It's kind of, I mean, that's actually kind of one of my favorite devices to use.
Do you use do you use the FLIR for like your cell phone, or do you use like the handheld one?
Yeah, and with the cell phone, we have to make sure that we're in airplane mode because you're not sure. We don't really know how that really affects it. You know,
good point.
We've tinkered with it both ways before, and just with some of the way that that cell phone signals can travel, you have to put it in airplane mode. We've had so many times where, you know, it'll flicker out on us, or it'll give us a false reading or something we can't even recreate. It's like, well, now we can't even go back and debunk it because somebody didn't have it in airplane mode, and you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
Especially in Penguins games when everybody's checking the score.
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you guys, do you believe that ghosts or spirits could harm you? And have any of you have ever been attacked by a ghost, or do you believe calling out ghosts to get evidence? How about you, Brian?
Yeah, definitely. I've had several experiences where go into a location, start trying to communicate with spirits, and one of them is just not a happy camper for whatever reason. Either we're there, or he was just a horrible person in life, so he's a horrible person in death. I've been hit, scratched, slapped, knocked down.
Wow.
I mean, there's some pretty violent places in Mississippi.
I'm on my way.
Vicksburg.
Vicksburg is a very haunted place.
Yes. The Civil War, that Battle of Vicksburg down there, I bet you have a lot of Confederate soldiers down there, huh?
Confederate Indian. Yeah, definitely. And civilian casualties from that. Yellow fever epidemics. tornadoes, hell, you name it. You know, any reason why somebody would die, murder, natural causes. Most hauntings that we encounter are pretty peaceful. You know, spirits don't make a big mess of everything. But then you have that small percentage where you go into some locations and just have that one angry spirit. And he doesn't want to talk. He'll try to get you out of there, which we're not going anywhere. He'll do whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Ty?
I've had one experience personally where I was physically harmed, and it was actually at a house I was staying at back in 2017 to 2018. I thought originally it was sleep paralysis whenever it was occurring, because all I could see myself was a shadowy figure sitting on top of my chest, until I realized that I was actually able to move around, grab items, and try to fight back. And every time I tried to strike or break down elbows to bring the person closer, I would pass through them as if they weren't even there. I wake up after passing out because I could not breathe, and went over to my grandmother, and she had asked me if I had gotten into a fight. And after all this was said and done, I checked the entire house. Everything's locked up. There's no sign of forced entry. I don't think anything of it. Go back to my grandmother's house to visit her. And she asked me if I'd gotten in a fight in the middle of the night because I had handprints wrapped around my throat.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez.
Mm.
Dan, have you ever had an experience like that?
So luckily, all the experiences that I have had when we're doing investigations directly to me have been more to get my attention than they have been to harm me. Derek has had some scratches on him. We've had individuals with us that have had handprints on their neck from, you know, something possibly choking them or trying to harm them in some way. I can honestly say that I have never been physically harmed by something, but like I say, we've had, I know in Gettysburg, I had something that felt like a small child holding onto my pant leg for about 15 minutes. And we had a medium with us that had called out specifically without me identifying that I felt something. You know, she had called out that there seemed like there was a small child holding my leg on my right side, you know, and then we've had things more recently. We had chunks of plaster thrown at us, probably like quarter piece sizes of plaster at Fairfield Infirmary in Ohio. They were 3 different occasions they were thrown at us when we were in the area of the hospital or whatever you want to call it that was housing the mentally ill patients. So I think that most of my interactions have been something that was there trying to get our attention to focus in on, you know, kids like to do that. They love to pull on your shirt and those kind of things. But I can honestly, thankfully say I've never had anything attack me.
Derek, when this is happening, how do you react to it when you see this kind of stuff happening?
Oh, I want it to happen again.
Yeah, we know about that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Dan's
we
the
do.
one that
Rush.
always says that I'm
It's a
the
rush
one
for
that I'm going to die first in a horror movie because
No.
I'm the one that goes towards the noise,
You go
towards
towards
the
it.
shadow.
Do you have
Yeah.
anything on like anything captured on video or still camera of these things that are happening? Like someone throwing anything? Did you ever capture anything on video?
Not on. You can hear it. You can
hear it on
you can hear
audio?
the plaster chunking around. Yeah.
And it actually, Dan mentioned that it was recent. Twin City Opera House, we actually had that same, like a very similar occurrence where it was like rocks being thrown kind of in our direction. We were sitting in a circle and rocks are kind of like being thrown behind us to get us to look in a different direction possibly.
Ah,
I mean, it's never
that's
really
interesting.
it's such a small, I mean, we went over and we tried to find it. I mean, there's these chunks, like Dan said, they're like pea size. So even if you could get a camera in that direction, you're really not going to see much of it. But you definitely can hear it on recorders. You can hear it on video, and then you can hear us react to it. But
cool. How do
as
you
far
think
as-
is haunting the opera house? Is it a performer or is it one of the people, the audience? What do you think?
there's a lot of different stories that go along with it, but after our interactions there, we actually think it's a little girl.
Okay, now, who would this little girl be? Like, why would she be at an opera house? Is she a
So,
daughter of one of
yes,
the
she was
singers?
she was a daughter of one of the main performers, and she actually had died while her mother was performing.
Oh,
And
wow, that's sad.
yeah, it's extremely sad. And her father was really, there were like tales of who it was, but it was really never known. Not 100%. So the family was always kind of in disarray, and but once she died, her mother then, I believe, passed away. What was it, Dan? A couple months later. So
Yeah,
it really
sure.
just
After.
it was just kind of destroyed their family, which rightfully so. I mean, you can understand that. But the entire time that we were there, we thought that something was almost following us from room to room. And it wasn't until we got to the basement where things were trying to get our attention that we actually did a pendulum session. And this is one of those things we don't typically do often because you don't know what you're opening up. Plus, you don't know if you're manipulating it too much.
Right.
But
I say manipulate.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to do. And I mean, my hands shake as it is, so there's no way I can do it. But Dan actually was the one that ran the pendulum, and we got a lot of good answers out of that. And we had it all kind of on video, making, like close in, making sure that his hands weren't moving it, or his body wasn't moving in any way. But that's how we got a lot of answers, I think.
Do you think that this little girl died tragically? Was she sick? Because it seems like most of the hauntings are around like some soul that was traumatized before they died.
I think it was a sickness, right? And I think it came.
Yeah, she was sick.
It was, but it happened fast, and they gave her time to live. But she, I mean, she didn't last nearly as long as they had anticipated.
Yeah, she passed away in the hotel that was at that time across the town square from where the opera house was. She spent a lot of time when she was living with another local girl that was her age, playing in the opera house while her mother was performing and practicing and things. So I think that the energy was possibly brought back there because it was a place that she enjoyed, not that because it was like a tragic thing that happened. It was just somewhere that she enjoyed spending her time. She had good memories with, and I do think we made contact with her when we were there.
It's kind of like, why would a little girl want to hang around an opera house when what going back to, let's try Utah, like a person that died, like a little girl that dies, she's died from a sickness, but why would she hang around? I mean, why wouldn't she go see the light? Why do you think that she just hangs around an opera house for? I know you guys said that she enjoyed it, but Ty, tell us, what do you think? What do you think? Why would she? Or tell me why would a ghost hang around an opera house? Why not go to the light?
I typically tend to believe that even in the afterlife where spirits may wander, there still are the hubs of attraction that they remember from their life. So if her mother was a performer there, then to me it would make sense that after her passing, she would have some fond memory or a fond feeling of the theater. Here nearby in Tifton, we have a similar little ghost. Her name is Elizabeth.
Okay.
And from what we could tell, she is around from, I believe, the Victorian era, from what the medium was telling us. And she is definitely a more playful spirit. She loves anything that lights up. And it's the same idea. She may have been the child or of someone who performed there or was passing through. And any kid who would have went to a theater at that time, it would have been like going to the best movie of our day today.
Okay.
Personally, that.
Jason,
Brian?
what do you think about that?
Maybe she liked the music.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that thinking about something like that kind of reminded me of when we were at Lake Shawnee. There's a little girl that was killed there tragically.
Yeah, you remember
she got
that.
hit by a truck and stuff. And that was the first time that I saw an apparition with my own eyes. And, part of me wonders, like, do they choose to still be there, or are they stuck there because that was like their last moment, and it happened so suddenly they don't even know what happened yet, It's hard to say. One day we'll all find out.
Yeah, when we die. I had a case where we did a private residence, and this little girl, she died with her parents in a car accident. And she just wandered around the property around his house looking for her parents. And she didn't raise a lot of ruckus, but she really did she made a lot of noise in order for, I guess, us to get there so we can help her cross into the light.
There we go. Brian, is it Brian?
Yeah, Brian.
I'm going to ask you something. Okay. Well, we're coming out to. It's the ghosts that are out. Do they only come out at night?
No.
Okay. If they only come out at night. Okay.
They come out from under your bed, Jenny.
I know. Okay. Ghosts only come out at night. Okay. Well, why do you guys always do your investigations at night if they don't just come out at night?
I've always thought of it as at night the world slows down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's not so much, outside noises going on. It's easier to do things at night. That's what I've always believed. I mean, they come out during the day.
Okay. Okay, they come out. Okay, but Dan, no, I know that they say 3 a.m. is the haunting hour. Now, do you think is that why you guys like to stay out all night and do these investigations?
So obviously the nighttime it ramps up the creep factor, right?
Yeah.
It definitely makes it more fun, I guess. But no, I think Brian and I share the same opinion. The world slows down. There's less pollution from the outside world coming in. There's less traffic in the streets. There's less, contamination.
It's quiet.
Yeah, it's very quiet. And also, like, a lot of the equipment that we use to investigate is driven by lights to alert you whenever something is near a device or interacting with a device, where if we're using that during the daytime, those lights aren't going to show up the same way, and they're not going to draw your attention, especially if you're running 3 K2 meters at the same time in the same room. You only got, 2 sets of eyes between Derek and myself to look at them. So they draw your attention to them, right? But we've had things happen during daytime investigations, but we do tend, I will be honest, to do nighttime investigations. It's just, and it also doesn't interfere with life. We all have full-time jobs outside of ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So when you have the free time is when you're supposed to be sleeping.
Okay, guys, I have a question for you. So you got all these paranormal shows, like Ghost Adventures. And how much do you think is made up?
Yeah.
Well,
feel free to chime in anytime you want.
Go ahead, Ty. Ty.
I think he fell asleep.
He lost his camera earlier.
Yeah.
He said something in the chat about it.
Well, I guess I'll start off. So I watch a lot of ghost shows. It's always something good to put on in the background while you're just doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, personally, it's TV. So I'm sure it's got its own factors into the process. But, out of all the shows, probably the most entertaining has got to be Ghost Adventures because they're just hilarious.
Oh,
and we all know
I agree with that. Ghost Adventures is very.
Yes.
I don't care for the show, but I think it is entertaining.
Yes.
I think when ghost shows started out, like with Ghost Hunters, that was, I think, one of the only shows that I can think of in mainstream media with ghost hunting where they didn't find something every single time, and it wasn't something like off the Richter scale for paranormal activity. And I'll be quite honest with you, I just watched one the other day on reruns where they went into a family's home, and everything that they said was happening in their house, they debunked it as being something just normal kind
Yeah.
of looking through the house, shifting rugs and doing those kind of things.
Yep.
And I'll be perfectly honest with you, that episode was boring as hell.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So whenever they find stuff, it's so much more exciting than whenever they decide that noise they heard was just a creaking floorboard that they stepped on. Because we probably, I would say 75%, if not higher than that, during an investigation, probably 75% or more is just us being idiots, not paying attention to where we're walking. I know Derek likes to wander around, and I'll be filming, and Derek will be walking in the background, and then we'll be reviewing footage, and Derek starts flipping out because there's a ghost in the background, and I have to like, Derek, that was you. I remember thinking how much of a jerk you were for walking there when I was filming.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the truth with those kind of shows as well, and they have to make money, and they do a good job at it.
Yeah,
if
they
you
do.
think about that too,
They nailed it
these-
for the entertainment and suck you in factor.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
the
did.
shows are what, a half hour.
Some of
Where
them.
when we're on these investigations, you're out there for 8 hours, so they take little clips and it's all, I don't want to say watered down, but it's all definitely cut out. So who knows what they're actually getting into during an entire thing there. I mean, it's really hard to see it, the whole night in perspective.
There is I'm sorry. There's one while we're talking about ghost adventures real quick. There is one thing that I have noticed, and my wife has noticed it too. If you watch their episodes and like say something happens, certain things we've started to wonder if might have been like legit, because they will try their hardest to debunk like different things and then not come up with an answer.
Right.
Like if you watch their shows, it might be, on this episode here, but you won't see something like that for 3 or 4 more episodes, but they'll focus really hard on one, you know what I mean? And it seems like that might be little bits of legit.
Well, right, but they also find those crazy things that they eventually debunk right before the commercials.
Right.
Yeah.
And they always act so scared, like,
Yeah, they do.
Can you hear that?
Now,
Stop running.
I've got a Ghost Adventures story for y'all. They actually came to Vicksburg, and they filmed several episodes here for one of their, I guess, like a mini series. I was working at a tour home at the time, McRaven Tour Home, and the owners just were like, "Oh, we want to get these guys here." So I was like, "Well, I know a few people, so I'll just, figure out who to talk to." I contacted their location scout. See, I know him and one of the producers. They were coming to Vicksburg, and they were like, "Okay, it's going to be between Vicksburg and someplace in Seattle, or Washington. That we're going to do like a mini series. It's 4 episodes, which what the mini series was based around." So they came, they walked the locations, they sent Zach and Aaron the information, and they chose Vicksburg. So they came and filmed in Vicksburg. Those guys, they're goofy as hell on TV. Goofy. But you get them off camera, they're the nicest, sweetest people in the world. I don't agree with everything that's on the episodes. I'll call BS if I see BS. That's just who I am. Like the McRaven episode, they found they were doing some metal detecting, and they found something plastic, and they just were like going crazy over it. And I'm like, okay, guys, stop. Just stop. I was standing off in the background, like shaking my head. I was like, no.
Yeah. Well, how about on YouTube where they busted, was it Grant? No, yeah, Grant, where they actually busted him on YouTube, where he actually pulled his arm back and he made his hood go back. Have you all seen that YouTube video? Yeah. Well, let me tell you this.
Familiar.
Well, let me tell you this one. I was asked to be on one of the ghost shows. It was called After the Dead Files. Okay. And when I went up there, I went as a psychic medium. Okay. And I do that. But I'll tell you how fake they are. Okay. I had to listen to what the producer wanted me to say. I couldn't change nothing. I couldn't see nothing.
Yep.
They gave me this little script that I had to read by. And so to me, the ghost shows are crappy. Now, I had a show called Raw Fear where about 7-8 years ago, and I paid for the TV show. But we didn't have actors. We had young kids, and they never been on an investigation in their lives. So it was a 13 show series, and eventually, whenever we filmed, if we didn't get nothing on that show, we ran the show on TV, but we never, if we didn't get any evidence, then we didn't put it on, so that's how I believe. If you want a good paranormal show, go out for an hour, film it. And if you get something, great.
Yeah,
If
but no one's
not,
going to watch it if you don't got
Yeah.
anything. That's why
Well,
you're
That's the problem.
That's the case.
oh, no,
People
no,
need
no, no, no,
action.
no, no. We had 1 million. We had 1 million viewers, because they did that through that Nielsen ratings. And we had 1 million viewers. So
Pretty good.
they like the honesty.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you had taken the Ghost Adventures route, you could be.
Yeah, you'd be
famous
rich.
Have your own haunted museum.
Another myth is only old buildings are haunted. What do you think about that, guys?
No,
right now. Nah, that's
No.
bogus. That's bogus.
I've done many cases where something new is built, and we'll come in contact with a spirit that's been there for 100 years.
Welcome back, Ty.
I didn't see
Thank
you,
you.
Ty, sorry.
There he is.
He pulled a Houdini and disappeared.
Gotta have a little bit of magic when you talk about paranormal.
Yes.
So not all old buildings. Okay, so a new building can be haunted.
Yeah, you got to look out
Yeah,
for
the land.
Indian burial
Yeah.
grounds.
Oh, most definitely.
Tragedies in the area. I was on an investigation one time where there was on a main road, and the place was super active, but it was because there were so many accidents on the road and people got killed on it. Their spirits were just there. It's just part of the land
Right.
at that point. It was a new building.
Mhm.
So
I mean, I don't know where y'all consider new to stop, but the prison I used to work at was built in 1990. And so that was only 30 years ago now. And it had paranormal activity all through it.
What do you think that ties? Is it because was there people that died in it, or just the land that it was built on?
I think it's more of a combination of the people that died there, and whenever you put so much evil in one place, you're just going to invite more and more.
Mhm.
Like one of the first spirit I encountered, I believe, is one of the officers, that the only officer to pass away at the prison, and he actually died of a massive heart attack. I was working the K2 building, and you could hear, it was the J2, my apologies. You could hear the keys of the officer as if he was tossing them up and down in his hand. Come in the door. I heard the door open as I'm filling out door sheets, checking on each inmate. The inmate asked me if Officer Yeomans had come in and if he had the stuff from the other side, brought it back over. And I look, and there's no one there, but the sound of the keys walks up the stairs, goes past me, and continues on. And I watch the door open again. The sound of keys carries out, and door closes.
Do you think
Cool.
because he was evil? I mean, was he a bad?
I think that one was more of just he hasn't really clicked that he's gone. He still came in to do a check.
So he had a heart attack in the building.
He didn't pass away in the building itself, but that was the building he most commonly worked. He actually passed away responding to a call of an officer in distress. He ran down to the building and had a massive heart attack. He was a larger man.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like, well, why would you want to hang out in the
that's why I walk.
prison? I don't know why you would
Have
want
you
to
ever
hang out.
seen you?
I'm a pretty big guy. That's why I walk.
Yeah.
That's I don't know about that. I don't know why I'd want to be hanging around in the prison for.
You'd be surprised where they hang out.
Oh, yeah.
Cemeteries are pretty haunted. People are just dying to get in, you know.
Oh, that's so damn old, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I
Come
like
up
it.
with something better, man.
It's still good. I like it.
It made you chuckle.
So let me ask you, there's a heightened emotional state right now, ever since COVID started. Okay. So a lot of people are reporting more hauntings than usual. There's like a rise. So what do you think is the reason for this? So whoever wants to start.
At home watching all these ghost shows because they can't go out and do nothing. So now all of a sudden their house is haunted.
Yep.
Because the internet said so.
Hey, it could just be that they're now home just to experience it.
Yeah,
That's true.
I agree.
I mean, I'm gone all the time. I'm either at work investigating or I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm rarely here.
Mm-hmm. So you just think because they're home more that they see things that they normally did.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's what I think.
there's a lot of these videos like on TikTok and YouTube that these door ring, what do you call it? Ding dong, whatever you call it.
Ding dong ditch.
They're seeing a lot of videos where there's entities on the caught on video that they normally wouldn't have. Now, how many do you think of those are really legit? Like, I mean, I've seen some really scary ones that they actually saw. And these ones, they weren't staged. These are real videos that the video camera, the security camera actually caught. It's their front door. So they're just getting like, there's like entities that come up to the screen. I mean, really close. They're not orbs. They're actually like apparitions that come up to the door and they're catching it on. So do you think it's just because of the videos? Or is there something more to it? Like, why is there such an increase that they're catching?
Well, what you're talking about with the ring and all those kind of technological advances, I mean, that's relatively new still. You know, it's not something that's been around for a while, and everybody that's getting one, they're now paying more attention to it. We've actually had a bunch of people send it to us, our relatives included, saying, "Hey,
okay, so you've
check
seen
this
them.
out. This is creepy. There's something not right here." And it's sometimes, it's a bug, you know, but there's other times where you can see a full body, you can hear something, and it's just, there's no way to duplicate it, to replicate it. There's nobody around. And those cameras typically have a pretty wide view. So it's not like, you know, somebody's running up and doing something, then running away. You'd see it. You'd at least see a little bit of it. So there's a lot of that out there right now, and I think that's just a lot of new technology that more people are getting their hands on.
Dan, do you think it's just because we have more technology, or did you think there's a rise of paranormal activity recently?
A rise? I don't know if it's a rise as much as it is. Well, like we were saying before, like people just they need excitement in life because nothing's happening.
Do you think that's just the reason? Because people are
possibly, but I mean, there's no doubt that, you know, we're canvassing the entire world with cameras right now. We're watching places that nobody used to watch. You know, I was just watching a show on TV the other day where there was a guy that was just filming himself fishing, you know, and, you know, these people post these videos online and then the internet gets a hold of them and you have millions and millions of people that are watching videos and they're not watching what's happening on the videos or watching the background of the videos. So you have millions of these internet sleuths that are able to look at these videos and see things that nobody did before. So is it an uptick, or are we just paying attention more? I tend to believe the latter before I would say that it's, you know, a lot more ghosts flying around right now.
Yeah, to your point, it's also like an awareness, right? And it's also it's almost I mean, people are more accepting of it now.
Okay.
As opposed to, you know, 10, 15 years ago, you say I saw a ghost, you're going to, you know, you're going to a therapist. You're going
to some of the places that we hunt right now.
You know? So the only thing I don't like about a lot of these security cameras, if you notice, a lot of them still have like 480p, just really pixelated video.
Yeah.
And you know, with the video of that quality, you know, it's so easy to your brain just trick you into think you're, you know, with the pixels. I forget the term for it exactly, but you guys know what I'm talking about. All the pixels, you know.
Pixelating. Hey, I got a question real quick. I'm going to throw this out to the group.
We'll catch it.
okay, all these mental institutions that were out there back in the 40s and 30s, you know, and people did see ghosts, or else they had a sixth sense of some sort. What do you think of them because they saw something or felt something that they were automatically put into these insane asylums and did exploratory surgery on their brains? What do you guys get a feel of that?
I think every one of us would be in one of those places just for
100%.
right now. To be
Yeah.
perfectly honest.
We're all
It's
admitted.
really hard to speak about that time frame because back then, if you just had depression, they would
Yeah.
shove a rod in your eye and make you a vegetable because at least then you weren't telling them you were sad. So, I mean, it's just hard to judge the thoughts of that based on how they reacted to everything. If it wasn't normal, it was insane, and so therefore we must treat it with harshness. I mean, they used to shock people to try to fix.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's lobotomies. Come on.
Brian, how many do you think that the ghost investigations, like, do you think demons could it be demons and not a ghost, like a mean ghost? How many do you think are demons or a demonic possession or infestation? Do you think that you're just grumpy old ghosts?
I would say that, I mean, percentage-wise, it was always believed that demonic infestations or possessions or that anything dealing with the demonic was about 1% of true
1%.
hauntings. But of course, you could debunk 80% of the claims out there of haunted locations. I don't know. They say demonic activity is on the rise. I've never seen proof of it. I've dealt with demonic entities cases. I have worked with those. But they're very rare. I might come across one once every 7 years, maybe.
Okay. Now, we had the author of A Diary of an American Exorcist, and he said 45% of the hauntings are demonic. What do you think, Dan?
I mean, maybe he's been brought at this in different situations that we were never brought into. I don't know, and I think we'd make millions if we knew, right? But no, I mean, I can tell you that we have never.
You never had an experience with a demonic?
I don't believe so, at least.
Okay.
I don't agree with that either, because I mean, it's just going to saying that 45% of the cases I worked on were demonic. I've never seen signs of it.
Yeah.
Only just a handful of cases I've worked on, you actually see the actual signs of demonic presence.
Well, but then again, from the exorcist point of view, just like with us as investigators, we don't encounter a lot of demonic activity, out in our investigations. But for an exorcist, his job is to, rid demons of people that are possessed. So he sees something different than what we see. So that kind of, I could see how he got like 45%. So like, say half the cases he's involved in, half of them are probably demons that we don't see because we're not there dealing with the possessed. So I could see.
I agree with that.
It makes sense.
Okay. This isn't a it's a paranormal investigators. You should be investigating as a paranormal investigator, not only ghosts, but you should be investigating other things like other shows like Chasing Prophecy. We discuss anything beyond the scope of normal. So you guys should be investigating things that are abnormal or but then we get to the conversation as are aliens little green men flying in sauce. What do you think an alien looks like, and do you think that they're actually flying in saucers, or are they from a interdimensional like a portal? Who's gonna start that one?
I think it's more of a comfort, in all honesty, because I think we would rather see little green men, because if we saw a spaceship land and it was something foreign, something extraterrestrial, and we saw something that looked like us walked out, I think we'd be a little more scared because we know what we are capable of. but we don't know what little green men are capable of. So we're more comfortable with that idea.
Dennis Mouth says both.
I don't know if I've ever. I'm on the fence about UFOs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had experience with it. I've gone little excursions, looking in the sky and everything, see if you see funny lights or ships or whatever. And my theory has always been, I kind of agree with what George Carlin said once. He was talking about necrophilia. And, humans will do a lot of gross things. And also rats will do a lot of gross things. But a rat will not have sex with a dead rat. And we wonder why, a UFO just doesn't land and they come out and say hello.
What pleasure can you have having sex with a dead person? I don't
don't go there. No.
Torture
I
Tuesday.
agree with that. I kind of agree with that because, why would they want to come land on this earth? I mean, we're screwed up.
Well, that's another thing is that we are in such we're getting back to, we've had some guests on the show that believe that the Antichrist is here, or there's so much evil in the world right now. Like, it seems like there's more. Now, I do a lot of research online. I read a lot, Augie. But there's so much evil in the world right now, and there's so much paranormal activity that people are catching up. Now, is it because something's going on? There's a shift in the atmosphere. Something is the veil so thin right now between this world and the other world that there's more, like, I know you guys, we were just talking about demonic possession, but like demons and angels. Do you think that's what the paranormal activity that we're seeing, the ghosts, the orbs, is because the veil is so thin right now?
I don't believe anything is, and I apologize if I take the lead on a question too much.
No, everybody just jump in. We don't.
I
just be
don't
like your
believe that
home.
it is necessarily that the veil is too thin. I mean, I want to think, if you go back just 10, 15 years and showed someone the phone that I have today, I'm only 23 and it would have blown my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is we have the ability to show it to the entire world. If you create an abundance of something and make it rapidly accessible to everyone, it seems that there's an abundance where it's only just more viewed. So it isn't that, in my opinion, that the veil is necessarily thin. It's just everything that wasn't originally able to be recorded. Now you can go into the poorest neighborhood in any town, in any country, and they're still going to have some type of device, maybe not as grand as mine or yours, but they'll be able to record and access the internet. Mm-hmm. And the same thing applies with what we were talking about earlier. I actually completely forgot where that was about to go.
Okay. No, I was just wondering if you think. Well, you're right. With technology, we didn't have these things 10 years ago. That
you got to
catch things up.
Like, everybody's got cell phones, everybody's got laptops.
Exactly.
15, 20 years ago, a lot of people didn't have that, but now you have all those devices are feeding just energy out there and waves that we can't see. So now, that's more for the paranormal. Spirits to feed off of that, to show themselves. Plus, you figure all the negativity that's out on the planet right now.
There you go. Right.
Yeah,
a lot of them feed
absolutely.
off of that.
The negativity is evil. I think it's like there's just so much evil negativity out there. Everybody is. I know myself. I am agitated more. I mean,
I've noticed.
My patience is very, very thin.
Very thin. Very, very thin.
Very patience.
You can see through it.
Yeah, no, seriously, everybody I think is feeling it. I mean, you can't. Your temper. You normally you would just blow things off. Now it's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The road rage is out of this world. I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of craziness. But I know myself, my dog has picked up on just goes and hides for no reason. It's like, okay, why is he what does he see that we don't see? Like, is it just a shift in the wind? Is that why he goes and hides, or do they actually see something that we don't see? And it seems like they pick it up. They're more conscious of it. So I don't know. I just think there's something going on out there that we can't see. And
Right.
it seems like you can feel it. Like there's a heaviness that something's going to happen.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it could be, it seems like is the other world, are they feeling it too? Like the dead people, the ghosts, are they feeling it too? That's what I want to, that's what I'm getting at. Do the ghosts feel what we feel? Like if we're feeling that there's an unrest, are the ghosts in the, or do they don't feel anything? They're just residual spirits that just walk around. They have no, or do they actually think and they, okay, Sean, do they actually think, the ghosts?
Well, firstly,
do they think and have a conscience? That's what I'm trying to get at.
before we get to
They
that,
do have what?
Dennis Smale says it's so nice to hear Pittsburghese. So we're gonna go down there. And get me some
Yeah,
jumbo.
yeah. That's cool. It's so true too. But see, whenever you're alive, when you die, your spirit, goes out there, and they understand what's going on in the world. They understand that their wife or their child are real angry. Oh yeah, are real angry, and so they're angry too, because there's nothing that they can do to help them out there. So the spirits, definitely know what the hell's going on our world. Now the residual ones, I don't think so. They're just stuck where they're at in that time. So that they wouldn't know anything like that.
I just want to make a quick stop. We have to shout out to our second hour sponsor, Carnation Essentials. I can never get this right.
Chocolate. It's chocolate. Yes.
Our second hour is sponsored by Carnation. And so I'm so thankful that they are. Let's see, look how it's not a shady there. But if you ever want it, are you in a rush for some delicious breakfast treat? Carnation Essentials Light Start has only 150 calories, and it's a great source of protein with minerals and vitamins. So make sure you get to the store and you start your morning off with Carnation. Thanks, Carnation. Okay. I just had to throw that in there. Okay. So I don't know. I just wanted to know if that was the truth. Okay. So we're getting back.
Actually, before we move on, and I'm sorry, Jenny.
No, go.
Like that comment, like the idea of dogs seeing things has. When I was a child, we had a video that they would play in elementary school that, it was a bad idea to look between your dog's ears because, you would see what they see, and it was like this story that we listened to around Halloween. And I honestly, I was terrified of it when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, and animals have such a heightened sense that we have lost through evolution by not needing to watch our backs at every second. Like we are the top of the food chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
But animals are not. So every slight change in atmosphere, in wind, in something that's there, and whether it be an electromagnetic field difference, like we're doing when we're ghost hunting, any change in the surroundings, an animal that is not at the top of the food chain is so tuned into that I absolutely think that dogs and just animals in general, cats, gerbils, whatever,
they sense it.
Yeah, I honestly think. Yeah.
So I just wondered because it was just it's so strange that he's normal and then all of a sudden he just gets up and he just goes and hides. Like, okay, what did you see? I mean, literally get up. And this is like going on more. It seems like it's more, and especially when we're having a storm right before he knows when a storm's coming, he can feel it. It's just that I wonder if they're sensing it more so now than ever too. And I always wondered if the ghosts, they see what's going on. If they can feel it. Cause I know if you believe in, I don't know if you guys believe in the rapture and all that they said that, the spirit world knows of it too. So they know what's going on. Now, I don't know who made that up? I never seen anything like that in the Bibles, so I don't know. In the Bibles, like I don't know. I read the Quran and I read the Holy Bible, but I don't know. And what's the other one? I don't know. I'm sure there's another one, or the Wiccan Bible or whatever. I'm sure it's something.
So I got a question for Dan. Actually, earlier on you mentioned Hillview Manor. You know, you guys investigated there. Now we investigated there as well. There was a few of us that at the witching hour, around 3:00 a.m., had a certain experience up on the second floor. I was wondering if you had, before I talk about what it was, I was wondering if you guys had any like crazy experience. Were you there at that time? Like anything happened?
The second floor at Hillview Manor was the first place that I ever saw an apparition or some sort of black figure that was actually walking into a doorway on the second floor, like in the center of the building almost. I don't even remember what that area was. Like with the fireplace. There was like a fireplace in the middle and those kind of things. I saw a full body walk into that room and went after it, made sure that people were behind me so that I wasn't by myself. But, went down the hallway, and when we went into the center of that room, there was a flimsy doll that was sitting completely upright in the middle of that room, just under its own, it was holding itself up. And we left it in that position, went back downstairs to like the break room or whatever you want to call it, where there was coffee, and, tried to wake ourselves up and try to, conceptualize what the hell we were just looking at. And when we went back up to that room on the second floor, there's a doorway that opens up out of the stairwell right into that room. That doll had been thrown across the room, up against the wall in like a heap on the other side of the room.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know what experience you had there. I don't like that second floor.
Yeah, you literally gave me chills because because when we were there, like it says around witching hour, I think there was only like 3 or 4 of us up at that time. We're up in the second floor around the center. Like we were talking, there was a restroom there that I think a gentleman had hung himself way in the past.
Yep. What was his name? Yeah. Anthony. Or no.
Yeah. Was that
something along
I can't. But it was
Angelo.
crazy
It's Angelo. Sorry, just
Angelo.
Me.
Gotcha. But there was a couple of us that seen this figure like peeking out of one of the doors, and then a little bit later on we saw this. It was almost like a creature. It was black and almost looked like it was crab walking and just like darted across the hall from one room to another. That's why I wanted to ask you if you had any experience, because that's the experience we had. And and then there was also something at the very end of the hall where the red exit light was. I'd have to look for it, but I got a photograph, and there's this giant something. I don't know what it is. It was some kind of apparition, but that's really cool to hear. Similar experience at the same place from another paranormal.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. Huh?
Yeah, I literally got the chills. You were talking about that second floor because it was the same area that we were in, right in the center, and all that crazy stuff is going on. So thanks for verifying that.
Awesome. No, absolutely. You can give me the $20 later.
Just 20. Damn, I would ask for 50, man. That was 20. Shit.
Oh my,
that's crazy.
But, that's a great location, though.
Absolutely.
I love that place.
Absolutely.
So do you think skeptics? How did you say that question, Sean? Do skeptics and paranormal investigators get along?
No, what I meant to say was, how do you deal with skeptics? How do you deal with them when you come across one? Somebody come up first.
So
get out.
Somebody.
So we started doing some public events recently, and we had some tables set up at car shows and different things, and there were quite a bit of skeptics. And to be honest with you, the last thing I want to do is try to convince them, because they will not believe what they won't experience. So the first thing if I come across a skeptic, the first thing I would ask them is to come with us on an investigation. because you can show them pictures and all these things, but they're always going to tell you that it's faked or our imaginations or whatever it is. But when you go on an investigation, I honestly believe you can make a believer out of anybody, just because it's too circumstantial to talk to an empty room and actually have it talk back to you and interact with your equipment whenever you're asking it to. I mean, I don't personally, and maybe it's just because I'm a believer, but I personally don't know how you can look at that and say it's anything but possible communication with the other side. So
Brian,
that would be my move. Invite them.
I completely agree.
Brian,
Yeah.
You're a parapsychologist, right?
Well, I study it.
Then what is your conclusion on that?
People are going to believe what they believe. I mean, I don't try to force anybody to believe in ghosts or anything. I'm kind of like what the gentleman just said. We do paranormal events. And even if I'm giving a talk or something somewhere, I tell people straight out, hey, you might think I'm full of shit or whatever, but this is what I've experienced, my team has experienced, or, whatever the case may be. I've taken skeptics to investigations, and they'll walk away. Some of them have become believers. Some of them scratching their heads. Some of them are just adamant that we somehow faked whatever just happened in front of their eyes.
Okay, but isn't a parapsychologist psychology? Don't they have? Isn't that the study that everything is thought in the mind that projects onto a picture?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so what? I mean,
spill the beans, Pap. Come on.
I'm trying. I'm lost for words, believe it or not. I don't know. I personally think, and nothing against you, Brian, nothing against you, but I think I have a problem with parapsychology, especially the ones that study it, because I know what I see when I investigate. I know what I get, on video or audio, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're trying to tell me, that it's all in my mind, and that's not true. So
Some of them do that. Some of them do that.
I tend to hold the belief that I haven't looked into parapsychology, so I can't say for 100% that it would be connected. But I do hold the belief that I think I was listening to it in either a supernatural TV show. They gave it a special name. Can't remember what it was called, but basically the more people that believe it, the more it becomes true because we give it energy to become.
Yeah.
I lean towards that a lot, that local legends become the legend that they were said to be because so many people believe it. And so you're going to catch evidence of it. You're going to see all that. And it could have started from nothing. And I'm also of the belief that we ourselves can become spirits.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be know-it-all, but I took parapsychology in college, and I think you got the wrong definition of it, Sean. Parapsychology is the study of paranormal activities, telekinesis.
Right.
It's paranormal, psychics, everything in the paranormal field. So I think you might have the wrong. I think you're saying something wrong. It's not. Whatever you're thinking of isn't what parapsychology is. All it is the study of paranormal activity. So it's everything.
Good job, Sean. Way to crash the car.
I just wanted, because I didn't want anybody to call us out on that, because that's what parapsychology is, the study of paranormal activity.
Right. But Brian just thought, because I have done seminars, I have done speaking engagements with parapsychologists. And the first thing out of their mouth is it's what's in our mind that projects it on that picture or that video.
Well, that's something that's
kind of like matrixing.
Yeah, it's like when a psychologist has a ink blot. What do you think that is? But that's parapsychology. Yeah, I just want to clear that up so we don't get any evil messages from Brian Sharpless, because
man.
But anyways, I just wanted to clarify that, guys. I'm trying to get my mic to get it's floppy.
that-
Not to be the party crasher, I am, but okay. So now Halloween's coming up. What do you have? Any kind of advice you want to tell anybody who wants to do an investigation on Halloween?
Derek, take the floor. We haven't heard from you in a minute.
Yeah, Derek.
Slide over to the right side of my screen.
Do it legally.
What fun is that?
Well, I mean, we've all been there, right? But no, that,
we haven't, just for the record.
never. No, I mean, if you're gonna do something and you've never done it before, go with somebody that knows what they're doing. I mean, or at least isn't crazy. I mean, I think some of my first experiences, I went with, a bunch of high school friends, and we would break into these old places, these old buildings, and don't do that.
That's fun.
It's fun, when you're doing it. Looking back, I'm like, God, I'm a dumbass. But
All fun and games till you catch a B&E charge, though.
yeah, that's exactly right. So that's why I said that.
I think what we need to do is get every 8-year-old on a Ouija board.
Oh, there you go.
Let the games begin.
There
You
you go.
know, yeah, dude, that's it. That's it. You're getting soap in your mouth the next time, brother.
Hey, I'm just saying, I would start investing in Exorcist right before we put that policy out.
That's right.
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely.
So do you
Oh
all
my
agree that you shouldn't play with a Ouija board?
No.
I
don't.
don't.
I mean, I
do
think
that.
they can be used. I just don't think that they should be used as a toy and used lightly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that
Listeners,
glow in
it
the
is not
dark.
a toy.
I like the
Do not
ones that
give it to
glow in the dark.
8-year-olds. It was a joke.
Those are fun. The glow in the dark.
I mean, I
ones.
just always have found it amusing that I got to be 21 to buy a gun, but 8 years old to summon Satan himself.
Oh, that is
Right,
good. I
right,
like
dude.
that. That is good.
I like
You should
that's
make a
true.
meme
That's
of that
true.
one. That's good.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
That-
a lot
I
of
think how many
people-
screaming demons would be running around.
I think my advice, if people would be looking to get into this, my first thing would be to be respectful of where you're going and who you're possibly communicating with. I think it's too easy to be that ghost adventure guy ripping his shirt off, showing the ghost that doesn't like his tattoos his tattoo. But, and that's all fine and dandy, but I think that you're opening yourself up like with a Ouija board, with provoking and those kind of things, going out and yelling for the ghost to come to you and those kind of actions. I think that you're opening yourself up for a world that we possibly can't protect ourselves from and don't understand fully. So it would be respectful. And I mean, most of the people that you're speaking with were alive and they had families and they deserve respect. So that would be my advice. Be respectful and be very cognizant that, we don't understand what we're talking to. So be careful.
That's good
Right.
advice.
Very good advice. Thank you, Dan.
How do you feel about going into an antique store and like there's a lot of these flea markets, an antique store that have these old, like old dolls, old, like charms. Would you suggest to the people not to buy those? Leave them there? I mean, do you think that they carry any kind of entity with them?
Well, I don't like dolls in the first place, so I'm going to say that right off the rip.
Yeah, cool.
The
I
charms,
despise
I
them
mean,
sons of bitches.
I wouldn't buy the charms only because I'm not going to try to buy anything that I think has something and bring it into my house. I view this as the safe house. This is the bunker. I'm not going to try to bring something else into it. Sure, have a little HQ where you want to study it and leave it there. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did bring home
Yeah, I
a
mean,
Barbie
you
from
don't know the-
1950s, so I kind of got scared. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it home, but I did.
Nobody knows the history of any of those things either. I mean, you can make up a story if you really wanted to, but you have no idea where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Neither do the owners. So
And don't buy
knows what
stuff
you're
like that on eBay because all that
Oh,
stuff is
I would never buy anything like that on eBay.
Buy a
I'm just
Dybbuk
scared.
box. Get a Dybbuk box off eBay.
It's okay. Whatever I buy on eBay is a lot more questionable than a haunted doll.
Exactly.
Yeah, same here, brother. Dolls are bad. Dolls are bad.
Yeah, they
So
are.
what, so what was your favorite everyone, starting with Derek, what was your favorite investigation that you did since you've been hunting?
Anywhere in Gettysburg.
Yeah, we're there next week.
Are you? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we did Jenny Wade, we did the orphanage. Hell, we just went to the battlefield, and there's just so much energy in that place. It's incredible just to feel it, just to walk out there. You don't even have to be doing an investigation to feel just the air, the atmosphere there. It's just incredible.
What
But
kind of
we-
energy are you feeling when you go there? Is it just energy, or is there some kind of, you have a heaviness?
It's definitely a heaviness, I think, especially when you are in some of those locations, like the orphanage where you had those kids who would just go missing, or you know, they have on record that they died. It's just, you know,
That's scary.
something happened there. You know, you don't have to know the backstory. You can just feel it there. It is definitely a heaviness.
What about Jetty Way? Did you get any pictures of her necklace by any chance?
I mean, we took a bunch of pictures of everything there.
No
but
necklace?
actually, no necklace. What we did get, though, was a thermal image of a full body.
Ooh.
I believe it was the kitchen.
Fantastic.
That was pretty
Upstairs
incredible.
room.
That's
It was a
good.
sitting room in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But that was
That's
pretty
awesome.
incredible. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything
you,
around
Dan?
Pittsburgh, Derek, Dan?
I mean, we've done a few things around here. Actually, some local residences. We've done Harmony Inn, which I thought was really cool. We actually caught a door opening and closing there. Caught that on camera. That was one of those moments where I was like, this is, you hear stories about it all the time, and then you finally catch it on video, you see it, and you have evidence of it, and it's just like, how do you debunk that? We tried.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I definitely think Hillview Manor. I can't speak highly enough about that place. I love that place.
you can't go wrong there. Right?
Yeah, I mean it's 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh, but I consider it Pittsburgh. You know, Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, if it's haunted, they don't like to say it is because it's
bad for business.
Yeah, it's too taboo. I mean, but they don't understand it would be great for business. If
Yeah, because I would want to go to.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like the hospital Derek was talking about, Dixmont Hospital that he went to in high school. I mean, they tore that down to build a Walmart. You know, just didn't make money, and they wanted to get rid of it. So yeah, Hillview's. I can't speak highly enough about.
Did either one of you ever get to go to Montessori Hospital and Jeanette
No.
before it was torn down?
No.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Dan's saying. Is they see the land. They don't see the history behind any of these places.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a really haunted Eaton Park.
There is. There's a haunted Eden Park.
Which
Sean,
one?
that's right up
Which
your alley.
one?
Yeah, it is my alley. Yeah.
Is there really?
Which one?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dang.
Oh, I was
Damn.
getting excited too.
No,
Get some midnight buffet and some
Oh,
scares.
yeah, honest to God, get some grilled stickies and a toast or two.
Cinnabuns.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Chocolate chip pancakes. That's what the deal is.
The pickle place, huh?
Yeah, sorry
How
to
about
get
Ty?
excited about a haunted Eaton Park.
How about you, Ty?
I would have to say the story. What made me first want to become an investigator is like my most interesting one to me personally. I was working in solitary confinement again at the prison. And as I was making my rotations, going through and doing every door check, I want to say it was probably about 5 a.m. And the sun still hadn't crept up all the way. I get to door K120. See the inmate laying in the bed, start filling out the door sheet. He comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, what's going on in the free world right now?" And I was like, they got the new Avengers movie, Endgame, that's coming out. That's going to be really cool, really big. Everybody's happy to see it. And he's just like, okay. And we talked for a couple minutes, and then I moved on to the next cell. And the next cell's like, "Hey, boss, who are you talking to?" And I was like, "Oh, I was talking to the guy in 20. Ain't nothing to worry about. Go back to bed." And he's like, "Sir, there's no one in 20. There hasn't been anybody in 20 in a week." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I looked this man dead in the face when he came up to the window. Wow. And they're like, "Boss man, go check." So I went and I turned around and the door was open. And these are doors that are bolted shut, key shut and electronically shut.
Yeah.
So I go into the cell. I see there's no one in there. I check the entire building, top to bottom. Both the doors that could lead you out are locked, and I have the keys in my hand. Check every shower, broom closet, room in there. No one's in there. Go back to the cell. The toilet is dry and the sink is dry. And the only reason that's important is because we don't turn on the water until we put somebody in there. The paper I filled out was gone. I went back to the sergeant running the lockdown. I said, hey, Sarge, look, I got to look at your paper. I got to look at your tapes, because I talked to a guy in 20 and now the door's open and nobody's in there. The door was open the entire time I was talking to the man, and not once did anybody ever step foot out of that cell.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
You have video of that, right?
No, I can't get it.
Video or it's
I'll be the
ungetting
PDC.
That's amazing.
That's why I wanted to start doing my own investigations, so that way no one can tell me they can't take the footage.
That's amazing.
How about you,
Wow.
Brian?
Oh, wow. I've been to a lot of good places. I think the one that just jumps out at me from anywhere. Hold on. A cat right here. Go play. McRaven Tour Home, the one I mentioned earlier, when dealing with Ghost Adventures. I worked there under the present owners, and I worked there under the former owner. This is a house that dates back to 1797 and was built in 3 different sections. Whenever I worked there under both owners, they pretty much just allowed me and the team just to come in whenever and investigate. And we documented a lot of evidence out of there: audio, photos, video, personal experiences. Scary things have happened in there. I don't know. It's just one of those historic places. And the cool thing about McRaven is it is an actual time capsule. Everything is stuck in that time period. You know, the 1797 section doesn't have electricity in it. The 1836 section, it has old lights that were rigged to use electricity, and they have electricity running through those areas because it was a private residence up until the 1960s, then was turned into a tour home. So everything is just stuck there. Everything is antique. There's no reproductions there. It's regarded as one of the most, well, they call it the most haunted house in Mississippi. I call it the most haunted historic home in Mississippi because I've actually done private residences more haunted than that. There's always activity, footsteps, disembodied voices, this crazy stuff that just goes on there day and night.
Scary.
Right. How about you, Sean?
My best one, I don't know if y'all heard of it, what Prospect Place down in Trimway, Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started, I would go down there every year. And what I liked the most was the cellar, you know, and sit way in the back. And then you can actually watch the shadow figures just run across through the portals or whatever they're going at. And all the ghosts were pretty cool there, too. I mean, nothing really bad. Now, on Ghost Adventures, or that dance floor up on the 3rd floor, they think that's the door to hell where they put this X mark or whatever it was. But you know what? To me, that was the best place to go investigate, and I would go back again. How about you, Jason?
Oh, let's see. Well, to be honest, the scariest place and the place that turned me into an investigator in 2013 is my own house. We had a poltergeist here that was literally destroying rooms, scaring the animals, breaking stuff. Everything is documented. I have videos, I have pictures, I have audio. This is just a hot spot. The woods next to my house have burial grounds out there. Every year I have to go out there and make them an offering because there's something evil in the woods. And actually something followed me home the one time. So we had to get rid of that too. You know, my own house is the one that, you know, turned me into a real believer, because I was kind of skeptical. You know, I believed there was ghosts, you know, growing up. I had a couple instances, but was never, you know, fully convinced. You know, I had to see it to believe it. And then after we moved in here, and, you know, just the chaos that ensued, like Sean, he could back me up on all of this.
Yep.
Because, you know, I'd be out at work and my wife would be at work. We'd come home, doors are open, lights are on, stuff's broke, thrown everywhere. To this day, my front door is a very old, real heavy wood door. And we have on videos several times over the last 7 years, it'll undeadbolt and just swing open by itself at random, you know, and then it might do that a couple times and then not do that for a couple years, you know, and it's just constant. It's always something here, you know, a lot of good stuff. The bad stuff's gone, you know, but that's, you know, I've had experiences other places, like Bel Air House was pretty good. You know, there was a scary incident there. We had something a spirit ran right up on me in the basement. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Bel Air House, do it. I will tell you this. It's kind of hit and miss in a sense, because we were there twice, and the first time we were there, there's some activity, nothing crazy, but the second time we were there, it was just full force. And after talking to the owners, you know, they said like one weekend it might be kind of slow, then the next weekend, you know, the people are there investigating, it's fully active. And we had the second time, which was, when was that, Sean? Was that February? I think we were there.
Yeah, it was in
February.
February.
Yeah, it was still cold. We had, you know, between orbs and door handles jiggling and candle blowing out on command. And the best one though was I scared Sean because I got scared. We were in the basement, and you know, we're doing a EVP session. I had a full spectrum camera running and surveillance running, and you know, there's this room in the back that, you know, a lot of bad energy was coming from, and we heard the shuffle, and I was like, Sean, did you hear that? And he's like, did you hear what? And then this thing, it sounded like it was something like real short, just shuffle ran right up on me. I literally jumped out of the seat. It was pitch black. I jumped out of my chair. I fall on Sean. He's like, whoa, what's going on? I was like, dude, did you hear that?
And Jason is 6'5", 300 and some pounds too. You know, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden he just falls on me like, oh wow!
I never saw it coming.
Never saw it coming.
Look, I may not know how, but I will quickly learn how to throw hands with the ghost.
Yes.
I tell you what, that one right there, man, that was a pure adrenaline rush. Like, I got up, I started snapping pictures. I'm like, I gotta find this thing, you know. And then, you know, we ended up finding a few things and a couple of pictures throughout the, you know, the weekend and stuff. And you know, one of our other investigators actually saw something and he drew it out. And then we even found a drawing that somebody from a long time ago put on a table. We didn't know it was there, and it was very similar to his drawing of what he saw. So there's definitely something there, you know. So you guys should check that place out if you ever get the chance. But, those were my favorites: my own house and Bel Air House.
That doesn't seem like a ghost to me. He seems like it's some kind of
little green people,
demonic demon. Yeah, demons. So guys, what would you tell somebody that wanted? I think we already asked this. Did we already ask us if they wanted to get into the paranormal?
Yeah,
we didn't ask. Did we ask that one?
Oh, you asked about Halloween, going somewhere on Halloween.
Oh, that was different. So that was if they wanted to do an investigation on Halloween.
Well, here's one. When you guys go on your investigations, does any of you guys do like a preemptive interview where you go meet with a client, kind of talk and feel them out to see if, you know, get a feel of them? Like, is this real, or are they just like freaking themselves out about some kind of thing before you actually go out and investigate?
So we went to the Tifton Theater, and we're actually setting up a little charity event to help them and the Wounded Warrior Project coming up in October. And while we were meeting with them, we were having activity. It was just myself and the two founders meeting up with the person in charge of the theater manager. And we're the only people in the building, and you can hear things moving underneath. And I'm talking, it sounds like chairs are being dragged back and forth. we're sitting there chatting about it, and I see a woman come up the stairs, and there's no one out there. The founders were watching a shadow dart back and forth across the stage, and we're like, okay, if this is how it's going to be on the first meeting, just interviewing them and seeing what the feel is, we're going to have a good time.
Interesting.
Yeah, we always
How
do
about you,
meeting
Brian?
beforehand.
How about you, Brian?
Someone just wanting to get into paranormal investigating.
Yeah.
Oh my God. First, I would tell them, figure out what they want to do. Do you want to do historic places, or do you want to go in and help people, that are having problems in their home? Because not everybody's cut out for private residence cases. Like on my team, there's some team members I just don't let go on private residence cases. It's not their cup of tea. And they get so freaked out about the smallest things sometimes that, I don't need them freaking out a client if they're still at the location. So, yeah, figure that part out first. Be skeptical of everything, whether, whatever the client's telling you, whatever you read. Go in there with skeptical, but with an open mind. I don't know. It's just, that's some of the foundation work that I always looked at especially whenever I started my team. Make sure you have heart and passion for what you're doing. You got to have that.
Cool.
Good ideas.
That's good advice.
Dan?
First thing I would tell them is don't go on Amazon and search for ghost hunting anything, because they'll charge about 3 times more money when you do that.
And don't use ghost apps on your phone.
Yeah, don't use the apps. We don't like those either. No, my recommendation would be to keep it as simple as possible. Some of the, we get more on a simple voice recorder and cameras than we do on the $500 Ovilus and the $500 SLS camera. And it's too easy to get tied up in technology, and you lose out on the experience. Keep it as simple as possible. Like you guys said, go in with an open mind, challenge literally everything, and just enjoy yourself. That's my recommendation.
Good idea.
Yeah. No, I'm mainly old school. I just like to have the K2 meter, and I like a digital recorder.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all I need.
Sometimes
And
that's the best way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because reviewing all those cameras is very fun.
Well, that's
let me
your
tell
fault
you.
for buying so many, man. That's buying so many. It's your fault.
I just let
I got
Derek
so much good evidence.
How do you feel about bringing psychics on your investigations, you guys? Anybody?
Anybody?
They could drive me
I
nuts.
personally don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it either. I've never had one up until a few years ago on the team. But she's no longer a part of my team. But if I ever needed one, felt like I needed to bring one in, I can call her or one of my best friends, kind of like a sister. She's a medium. She's helped out with some of my cases. So I'm not opposed to ever using them. I wouldn't go on Facebook and say, hey, I'm looking for a medium to help me with the case. Because then
If
everybody's a
you know
medium.
them well, and you can verify.
Yeah,
That's great.
mediumship to me is the most abused area of the paranormal, because all of a sudden, and I've done that before. Hey, I'm looking for a medium. Now, this was years ago. Go help me with a case. Everybody was a medium.
Right.
And I was like, great. Now I got to weed out the BS from the real ones.
It is cool though if you find or if you know somebody that is for real, and going on an investigation with them, it's kind of neat to kind of feel out their point of view and see if it's similar to what you're experiencing and what you're feeling. So you kind of getting on the same wavelengths, with somebody that's able to do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So that's definitely a good part of it.
Yeah.
How
So-
often? Go ahead, Jen.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
Whenever you do a client's house, how fast do you get the evidence back to them, and do you tell them the truth or do you make it up?
I would
Well, if they
never,
say that on air, then nobody's going to believe them when they show up, Sean.
right?
Well,
No,
I'm saying,
I would personally. I know Derek and I. We would never lie to anybody.
No.
You know, if somebody
Okay.
brought us in, if it was somebody we went to a location that was supposed to be haunted, you know, all of our recordings, all of our pictures are uploaded as raw files. We don't manipulate them in any way. You know, no, I would never lie to a client.
Do any of you make your clients sign like a disclaimer or anything like that?
I honestly don't know the policy on that.
No.
In the past, my team and I, we've signed like waiver of liability, of course, in case anybody got hurt.
That's what I mean.
We've also done had them sign and check off how much information or any at all, or none at all, what we could share with the public. Whenever I do a case, private residence case, it's usually about a week and a half before I get back with them. And I'll tell them the truth, you know.
Mhm.
And if I don't come up with any evidence, I'll just say it was a quiet night. I'm not going to say you're full of crap, believing, you know, with the experiences that you've had. Let us come back again, do another investigation. And then we'll look deeper into trying to figure out, are there natural reasons why they're experiencing things? And then we'll spend part of the other part of that investigation trying to communicate with spirits again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, is there any thing you guys want to add before we close out the evening? Brian, Dan, Derek?
Hey,
Okay.
anytime y'all are able to come down to Mississippi, we got some really great haunted places here. I would advise it because it's a very haunted state. You know, it's more haunted than what a lot of people think because, you know, Mississippi is very rarely on any of the TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, so, but we always have fun investigating
Okay.
here. So anytime y'all are in the area, come on.
And
if you ever, go ahead.
Brian, where can someone get a hold of you if they want to get an investigation in Mississippi? Or
Go to our website, MississippiParanormalSociety.weebly.com, or either contact us on Facebook under the same name, Mississippi Paranormal Society. That's the best two ways to contact us.
okay, and Ty?
If you ever find yourself down here in Southeast Georgia, don't be afraid to hit us up. We are Lone Wolf Paranormal Investigators. If you need help with anything or just want to reach out, we're the same thing on Facebook as is our website.
Okay, and Derek and Dan.
Yeah, so we're on all those social media platforms. Derek does an excellent job curating all of those, goes through all of our evidence. Our website, IronCityParanormal.com. Like I said, prior to investigations, he puts up a history write-up on a location, followed by all of our evidence afterwards with all the raw files. Very active on Instagram, Facebook, you name it. So what I would say is if anybody's interested in getting into this in the Pittsburgh area, that would follow us on Instagram. We're always looking for people to go with us. We do not charge extra money. All we do is take what it costs us and divide by how many people are going. So just kind of, keep it under control on cost and those kind of things. So we always love having people go with us on a first investigation, second, early on in their work. We love sharing. We have a very strong passion for this stuff and we love sharing it with everybody. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us, and really appreciate you guys having us on the show.
Great. Well, we want to thank you for all coming on to the show.
Thank you, guys.
And it's a fun evening, so I want to thank you again for joining us. Okay?
Thank you, everybody.
You have a great night.
Happy Ghost Day.
Y'all have a good one too.
Bye-bye.
Then there was 3.
Oh, yeah, and that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Yes, it was a good one tonight. Yeah.
That was good. Some good chats.
You guys, did you have any investigations?
We have many coming up.
Yeah,
Many.
Pap sent a whole slew list of them. I didn't even get to look through them yet to see what
Yeah,
dates and all that jazz.
Well, we're going to be speaking at the Bigfoot barbecue up there in Dayton, Pennsylvania. Me and Jason are on
Next
the 18th.
Saturday.
Next
And
Saturday.
where's this at?
Dayton, Pennsylvania. It's up.
How far is that from Pittsburgh?
Oof.
I want to say about an hour or so.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's a convention? Is it a picnic? What is
It's
it?
it's at a campground, and they're expecting usually around 1,000 people. You know, they come and have speakers about Bigfoot and paranormal and UFOs, and it's just like a big good time. There's vendors and food, and all kinds of fun stuff. Just a festival.
And who's speaking? Which one are you speaking?
Both of us are.
That's scary.
Both of us. But before the 18th, that Friday night, we're going to be in Vandergrift investigating a home in Vandergrift.
Okay, is it a haunted house?
Oh, yeah. And then we're going to Gettysburg the following weekend.
Yep.
And that's your first time in Gettysburg, Jason?
Yep, it'll be my first time.
I want you to take pictures of the Jenny Wade house.
Okay.
Because I had some pictures that my son took, and she has a pearl necklace. And he took the picture, and it was just hanging in the picture. There's nothing there.
But
I lost it.
Oh, wow.
I can't
I
find
think you
it.
showed us that picture.
I did. I can't find it.
Oh, wow.
He's really mad at me because I lost it. But so, what do you think about some of these? Okay, you guys never went to that prison. You should go to it. The one with Ty was talking about, where he works there. Is it Ty that works at the prison?
Yeah. It's Ty. Yeah.
Southeast Georgia road trip.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it because I know that Lone Star, they go to it's the old Jasper jail that they go and investigate. I want to go to Georgia. It's a road trip in a couple years. Go down there, then head over to Mississippi and do a couple.
You guys should go to New Orleans.
We eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
so Joe's not around, huh?
He will be.
Okay.
I was just reading some of this.
Because I do have my first show coming up after this one.
And what are you going to talk about?
Boy.
We're going to talk about the Wiccan religion. I'm going to have a witch on. And we're going to set the record straight about witches and what's up with it. And I got a good guest. He's a friend of mine. And we're going to go from there.
Okay. Well, I know a lot about Wiccan, and Wiccan I don't consider them to be witches. I just think that's their religion. Wiccan, they believe in the earth, the fire, wind.
You get back what you put out.
Yeah, do no harm. Yeah, you should have a real wicked witch on that. It's a satanic witch.
Okay, let me go find one of them.
And that'll scare the living crap out of you.
Are there any satanic witches out there? Please contact Sean.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of them. I'm sure there are, because witches. There's some mean witches that give you the evil eye, and you have to be very cautious of a woman, usually a woman, that says, "Oh, you look really good tonight, Jason," but she's really thinking, "You're a bastard. I can't stand you." Those are the ones that you have to be worried about, because they're cursing you. And believe me, they're out there. See, a Wiccan won't do that. Wiccans, they believe in, let's go put our feet in the earth and do some earthing.
Right.
And they believe in hugging the trees and talking to the fairies, and they worship goddesses, and they have their moon rituals, because I used to do it all the time. But I don't do that anymore, because I don't do anything that's going to offend my Lord and Master.
Ah, okay. You know what? That's cool. And I'm glad that you still have a lot of faith in them.
I do have a lot of faith in my Lord and Master.
That's good. That's
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to say again for our second show is. There we
There
go.
it
There you go. Hey, you got it right.
Carnation.
You got it
Carnation.
right.
Thank you
Breakfast
so much for
essentials.
sponsoring us. Remember that these light starts, and they make a lot of other things. They make the carnation milk for baking, especially this time of year with Thanksgiving coming up. They make great log, the Thanksgiving pumpkin logs. You can use it. But if you're really trying to watch your weight, these are great because they're 150 calories and they have 11 carbs and 7 grams of protein.
Are carbs good? I don't know. Are they?
No. If you're trying to watch your weight, Pap, no carbs.
I'm sorry.
What? But 11
Jenny's
carbs.
choking on a breakfast essential over
Carbs
there.
are. Don't you ever watch Austin Powers? Carbs are the enemies. You remember when Fat Bastard? I loved him in Austin Powers, and he's eating and he's stuffing his face, and he has jelly beans, and he has M&Ms, and he has cheese doodles, and he has food all over him. And he goes, "I hate what I eat. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm happy. And carbs are the enemies." He would always say.
Okay.
Yeah, carbs are the enemies, but
they're so delicious.
No, they aren't
So
they? I mean, I had a binge of carbs, cheese doodles.
I mean, you got spaghetti, lasagna,
I love cheese doodles, the
garlic
cheesiest,
bread.
extra crunchy cheese doodles. I should let them be our sponsors. I will definitely shout out to Wise. Or I would like Coca-Cola because I'm an addict. Oh, there we go. I love that.
There you go.
Yeah,
They
I got
should
one
have-
floating around here somewhere.
But this is the new sugar. This is the now more delicious zero sugar.
Is that the red can with the black
Yes.
label? Now, you know, there's a difference between that and the previous Coke Zero. I think I like the previous Coke Zero better.
You know
before
what?
they
You're
changed their
right. I
recipe.
think I do. It tastes more like Coke Classic.
Yeah, not only that, but I've noticed like the new one, it seems more like it foams up faster. You know what I mean? When you take like a nice swig,
Do you
it turns
mean
to,
it
like,
has
foam,
more
like
like
fizzy.
the fizzy carbonation?
Yeah, like if you
Well,
take a
but
nice swig, it's too fizzy.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go get the original one and do a taste test because when I drink it, I
Yeah.
usually when I drink rum, I usually put my rum in the Coke.
Yes.
Huh.
Crack.
Does that make sense?
Crack and rum.
Yeah, Ava was out of
Ah.
control today with her. I said that she heard a bang and come up in my office, and the room that I think has the spirits in was completely open. And Ava runs down to the laundry room and hides in the corner, but the door was the bonus room was wide open. There's something that she heard in there or seen in there, and she took off like a bat out of hell.
Oh, wow.
She scared the crap out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
the witching hour.
Yeah, I know it
It
is the witching
hour.
Okie dokie pokey. Thank you,
Alrighty.
Jason. You're supposed to close us out.
Oh, thank you everybody for listening in today, and thank you to all the paranormal groups that joined us. We had a nice discussion, and hopefully it was very insightful for everybody. If you're going to stay tuned for Pap, he's trying his own show tonight. Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck.
But if